This week, a police officer is shot in the face in Brooklyn, and a New York Jets player is shot in Midtown Manhattan. Plus,
really hurt. I'm really sad.
A 10-year-old boy is shot and killed in Newark. Right now, Fox 5's Crime in the City. For our first story this week, we begin on the Upper East Side. That's where we told you last week a police officer shot and killed a man who threatened to shoot up a hospital. This week, we have new surveillance video in this investigation.
All right, that's where Fox 5's Antoine Lewis joins us with the latest tonight. Antoine.
Steve, that video is giving new insight into just how serious and how scary this incident truly was. In the video, you can see the suspect holding what appears to be a gun in his left hand as he's moving up Madison Avenue near East 96th Street. Uniformed patrol officers are following closely behind, and at least one officer has his weapon drawn. Just moments later, the suspect walks out of frame, still holding the gun. He turns in the direction of officers, and that's when shots ring out. The NYPD saying the suspect, identified as 20-year-old Elijah Brown, fired at officers first, prompting the gunfire exchange in which Brown was fatally shot. Now, this all began around 7 Thursday night. Police say Elijah Brown pulled a gun on a man while on an elevator inside this building near Madison Avenue and East 107th Street. The NYPD says that Brown then went inside this nearby deli, showed his gun to the worker behind the counter, and told that worker to call 911 because he planned to open fire inside a hospital. According to detectives, Brown stole the worker's cell phone and then took off on foot. Police say that the suspect then walked in and then out of Mount Sinai Hospital, placed a gun by a tree outside, went back into the hospital a second time, and told the security officer that he had a weapon. A scuffle ensues before police say that Brown gets the gun hidden by the tree, runs southbound, where he's then approached by responding officers and eventually shot fatally. And we spoke with people who live and work in this area as news of the incident, as you might imagine, spread quickly.
I was nervous. I did look around a lot. Yeah, because, you never know. People are getting off the bus and the shootings happen.
I'm not surprised at all.
Tell me why.
Because anything can happen anywhere in this city.
It's really close to home, but it's an isolated incident, and this is still the safest neighborhood in the city. But I'm still shocked. I mean, this is literally right down the block from my house.
And this is where he's talking about literally happening just steps from where we are. We checked in with police before we went on air, Natasha. We asked about a criminal history involving Elijah Brown. They said he had no priors and also had no previous interactions with police. A very bizarre incident last night.
We now head to Brownsville, Brooklyn, where an NYPD officer was shot in the face by a barricaded suspect after police responded to a homicide. You can see this is live video right now. This is still a very active investigation, an active scene as we're walking across the street trying to get a closer view. You can see just beyond that crime scene tape, you can see that's the crime scene unit that is on scene there, those investigators gathering some information. This all started at around about 6 o'clock this morning. This is Thomas S. Boylan Street. This is between Hegeman Avenue and Linden Boulevard, so pretty busy area, but also a residential area. There was a report of someone who'd been shot. Okay, so someone had been shot, and then officers who were nearby, they responded. But at some point along the way, they got into a car accident. So those officers then ran to the scene, and once they got there, they confronted the suspect. They apparently confronted the suspect inside of the apartment, and at that point, there was some kind of exchange. It's possible that the officer was shot. It's considered non-life-threatening injuries, may have been a graze wound, a facial wound, so it's not a life-threatening injury. But the mayor did confirm that that officer was shot. Not clear exactly what is going on with the suspect. We do have reports that the suspect may have taken his life, but that's not confirmed yet. We're still waiting. We know the medical examiner's office is on the scene there, and typically when the medical examiner arrives, it's jumped to a more serious situation. The mayor did speak about this a little earlier. He tweeted, of course, the mayor is not in the city right now. He's in Israel right now. But he did put out a statement. He said, quote, "I have been briefed on the NYPD officer who was shot in Brooklyn this morning, quote, praying for the officer's recovery, and we will continue to monitor the situation." Over in Midtown Manhattan, New York Jets cornerback Kris Boyd was shot outside a popular restaurant in the abdomen in the early morning hours.
A story we've been tracking since this weekend. Jets cornerback Kris Boyd is recovering this morning after being shot in Midtown.
We're learning this morning about what exactly happened. Briella Tomasetti, sounds a little suspicious, no?
Yeah, well, Rosanna and Dan, we do have a significant update to share with you this morning. Police now looking for a man wanted in connection with that shooting. We want to get right to that footage released by NYPD Crime Stoppers. Officials sending out a short video clip about 4 seconds long and 2 photos showing that man running down the block. You see it there with a black Jeep parked behind him. He was last seen wearing a black hat, sweatshirt and pants, multicolored sneakers, and carrying a black book bag. According to the NYPD, Jets cornerback Kris Boyd in critical but stable condition as we speak. Investigators say the shooting happened shortly after 2 o'clock in the morning on Sunday on West 38th Street between 7th Avenue and Broadway, adding that a 29-year-old man was shot once in the abdomen and then rushed to Bellevue Hospital. The New York Post later identified Boyd as the victim of that shooting. A Jets spokesperson said the team is aware of the situation but had no further comment. Police sources, though, told Fox 5 that the shooting was preceded by some sort of argument and that the gunman fired 2 shots, one of which struck Boyd. The player is in his first year with the Jets, signing with the team back in March. He has yet to play this season because of an injury suffered during training camp. Before that, he spent time with the Texans, Cardinals, and the Vikings. Reaction, of course, pouring in on social media, even from Boyd's teammates. Jets linebacker Jermaine Johnson and defensive tackle Harrison Phillips both posted to X asking for prayers and wishing the player a speedy recovery. Mayor Eric Adams also said that he was praying for Boyd and his loved ones, emphasizing the city's gun violence epidemic. If you have any information, you're being asked to call the Crime Stoppers hotline at 1-800-577-TIPS.
Back in Brooklyn, we traveled to Gravesend, where a crash on Ocean Parkway killed a mother and her 2 young daughters earlier this year. A 33-year-old woman who pleaded guilty in this case was sentenced and will serve between 3 and 9 years in prison.
Miriam Yarimi broke down in tears after the judge handed down her fate today. Fox 5's Arthur Chien is live outside the courthouse in downtown Brooklyn with more. Arthur?
Natasha, Steve, this driver killed not just the mother, but her 2 young daughters who are just 8 and 3 years old, but herself will serve as little as 3 years in prison for killing them. The judge's decision here today has some wondering what kind of message the courts are sending regarding reckless drivers who kill people on our streets. Nonetheless, the driver, Miriam Yarimi, while she was sentenced today, made a brief statement.
There's a lot of sorrow and pain, remorse, regret I feel in my heart. Causing such an unspeakable tragedy. Accept full responsibility.
Yarimi was sentenced to 3 to 9 years, but she had faced up to 15 years in prison if convicted on the litany of charges for killing 34-year-old Brooklyn mom Natasha Scotto and her daughters Diana and Deborah. She also maimed their 4-year-old son. Now, the crash on Ocean Parkway in March sent shockwaves across the city as it was revealed that Yarimi was driving with a suspended license and that her vehicle had racked up more than 90 tickets in just the year leading up to that fatal crash. At least 20 of those tickets, Fox 5 found, were for speeding, and the vast majority of them were for speeding in school zones. Now, Fox 5 has also learned that Brooklyn DA Eric Gonzalez opposed today's sentencing. Sources in the DA's office telling us that he wanted the case to go to trial, but that because Yarimi pled guilty last month, the case went directly to sentencing with the judge, Danny Chun. Now, in a letter obtained by Fox 5, Gonzalez tells the judge they have video from start to finish showing Yarimi speeding through red lights and driving while using the video feature on her phone while holding it in her hand. Also saying that Audi's data showed that the gas pedal was fully floored going into the intersection at 68 miles per hour, where the speed limit was 25 when she smashed into the family with her 2-ton vehicle. Now, let's show you the transcripts from Yarimi's phone call. The DA's letter includes those transcripts of calls that she made while in jail to her ex-husband, saying things in terms of remorse, saying, quote, "Why should I apologize? I'm as much as a victim as they are." And then speaking to her entitlement, they quote her saying, quote, "You always know how to contact people to get out of trouble. Why can't you contact the judge to get me out? And why isn't the Jewish community helping me?"
No, this sends a clear message that reckless driving is not so bad. She's been driving recklessly for a long, long time. She did it here. She got a minimum sentence. And I think this doesn't send any message at all other than a lenient message.
People have stories. Each one of us has a history, and we should all be judged not based on our worst moments, not even based on our best, but we should be judged as a whole. And I think that's what the judge did over here, and that's why the offer was made as it was.
Now, in the letter from the Brooklyn DA's office to the judge, they say that Urimi is now trying to move her money to South America to avoid civil penalties. They say that's not exactly the sign of remorse. Meanwhile, the street safety advocates have a bill called the Super Speeder Bill that would put speed limiters on people like Urimi, whose driving record are like hers. That has faced opposition in the Assembly. We're going to have more on that story in the days that come.
And finally, we leave the city for Newark, New Jersey, where family, friends, and community members gather to honor a 10-year-old boy who was killed in a shooting.
A heartbreaking memorial for a 10-year-old boy who was caught in the line of fire. He was one of two people killed during a shooting on Saturday.
And while the community mourns, police are still looking for whoever's responsible. Fox 6's Richard Jacobs is live at the memorial tonight in Newark with more. Richard.
The tough one, Natasha and Steve. 10-year-old Jordan Garcia was nothing short of a rising star here in his native Newark. He loved football as a fifth grader. He loved his friends and he loved his family. And those family members and friends are here tonight as they get set for this vigil and balloon release to remember Jordan, who lost his life over the weekend while walking home with his brother from practice. One of two innocent lives lost to gun violence in a matter of seconds. That balloon release about to get underway here at Vallisburg Park at the Raheem Morris Field. This is the same field where Jordan spent many a night practicing. It's a place where his Westward Hawk teammates remember him tonight, where they would play their games. This community now calling for justice for Jordan with a GoFundMe page set up to help the family with funeral costs and support for a loss that is simply unimaginable. And it's Jordan's coach who set up that GoFundMe page, who did his best, he says, to protect little Jordan from violence in this city. He's now heartbroken.
These kids are like our kids. They're not just football players. They're not just kids that come out here and play in the park. These are our kids. Once they became part of this organization, they became our kids. So, yeah, I really feel, I'm really hurt. I'm really sad. I don't think he deserved this. He was a part of my life. He gave me 2 years of his life. Anything I could do to give back to him, help the family.
And as Natasha and Steve, you mentioned, police are still looking for whoever fired those bullets at Chancellor Avenue and Leslie Street on Saturday night. This is surveillance video as those shots were fired. 21-year-old Kiame Scott, a mother to a 3-year-old child, was also killed. 3 others were wounded but are expected to be okay. The motive of that shooting still unclear tonight. And who fired the fatal shots is still a mystery in a city that was most recently praising its downward crime trend. The Essex County prosecutor is still offering that $10,000 reward tonight for anyone with information on who those suspects were. If you saw something, if you know something, call them. There is that $10,000 reward for any information who was involved.
That's this week's Crime in the City. Subscribe for more at youtube.com/Fox5NY.